Hello, it's Lenore Ryan of Lights, Camera, Selfies. And today I'm very excited. It's our second meeting that we're having. It's actually our pre-planning session. Let me say that fast again. It's our pre-planning session that we have for our accountability group for 2022. And we had a great session on Sunday and I answered some questions of different things. So I am going to tap on some of those questions so that if any of you have those same questions, they'll be answered for you and you'll have them ready to go and you'll know what to expect. Because I'm guessing if that group has questions, you probably have the same ones too. So I'm going to start with some of those right off the bat. The biggest question I've gotten is how much does this cost? This will not cost you anything. It will, though, take up your time, your resources, and your ability to participate and be a part of the accountability group. I'm hoping that everybody joins in and shares thoughts, comments, ideas, all sorts of things. So that's what it's going to cost you. It's not going to cost you a dollar amount. I'm not going to ask you for your credit card or anything. Also, to the different things that I'm going to share with you, you don't have to buy. It's not a forced buy. If you want to, if you've been using Daytimer for the last 10 years and you want to continue using your daytime planner, that's fine. I'm not forcing or asking anybody to make it mandatory that you buy a certain planner. So that was the big question. I did suggest two, and I'm going to re-suggest them. The first one was the one from 17 Hats, which I actually printed out. I've been using it now, so it's kind of getting folded and a little messed up. But this is an online. You fill out your information, and when you fill out your information, they will actually send it to you via email. And then once you have it via email, then you can download it, you can print it like I did and be able to use it and focus on it. So we're going to be touching base on that one. The second one that I also recommended was the Bright Balloon planner. And this one is available on Amazon. And again, you don't have to buy either one. That's why I gave you a purchase option and a free option. So it's going to be great. Both of them are very similar. One is just a little more playful. The Bright Balloon is a lot more playful than the 17 Hats. 17 Hats gets right down to business and they focus on it that way. So with this accountability group, it's going to be a time that we can focus and plan on being together twice a month. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Once we really start focusing and moving forward, we want to be accountable. We want to have things that we move forward and we get done. And so we are definitely going to keep it moving. We're going to know in advance what our topics are and what we're going to be looking at. We'll be using our planners to make sure we're checking off the list and checking off the steps that we need to do. And just so we can keep going, we are going to focus on SMART goals, which if you haven't learned what those are, we will be explaining that in the next session so that you know what the goals are. We are also going to be looking at finance numbers. And now I'm not an accountant. I'm not going to be sharing information with you on how to focus on your taxes and different things like that. I am just going to be doing the basics with you so that we can track each month so you can make a basic plan for the month and then move forward and keep growing. And that's the point. If you don't know what your numbers are and you don't know what you're doing when it comes to numbers, then you really need to focus on that. And there's this book out and a study that shows that there's an 80-20 rule, that you make the bulk of your money from 20% of your clients. And so that's what we really need to look at. And it works a variety of ways. It may be 20% of the bulk of your money. You make 80% of your money from the 20% of certain services that you offer. So if we're tracking that and we're tracking it by your services, then you may want to think about possibly stopping a certain service, or maybe that's a service you need to raise your prices. If no one's saying no, then your price is too low. You need to get some no's. And I know as a small business owner, I hate getting no's also. But if your price is so low that everybody's accepting on your first quote, on your first offer, then your prices might be a little too low, especially for in your area and in your target for what you are doing. So just trying to keep that going, keeping that thought process going. So that's going to be another big subject that we do. We're also going to be talking about ideas and programs and different things that we can look at to help give everybody ideas on what they can do for their business. I know today is December 28th. You should be pretty much done with anything you're doing for New Year's Eve, maybe not so much the setup or the delivery, but on your marketing, you really should have been doing that for the last couple of weeks. And by mid-January, by like the 8th or 9th of January, you should really be focusing on your Valentine's Day sales and your repeat sales of birthday parties or weddings or different things, whatever the focus is. If you're a yard card business or a photo booth business or a balloon business, you should be really looking forward to what is coming up, because you need to target to hit people 3 to 7 times before they actually buy. So for me this weekend, I have been working on my presentations of what I'm going to be doing for Valentine's Day. And by like the 3rd of January, I'm going to have Valentine's Day all set up and marketing for that. But before we go into all of that, let's look back. The first thing we need to do is we need to reflect upon 2021. So if you have one of the planners, great, you can pull it out and we'll look at some different things. If you don't have a planner, or if you're using a different planner, I'm sure these questions, if they're not the same, they're going to be very, very similar. So the first one I'm going to look at is 17 hats. And it is asking you to reflect on this 17 hats. And it actually has a whole section where you can write in your own information and everything. I'm writing all my information in the Bright Balloon booklet, so you'll see that shortly when I show you that sample. That's why my 17 hats is blank. But in 17 hats, they're asking you to list 3 achievements that you have in 2021. This could be your annual sales. This could be if you opened up a new store or studio, if you hired new employees, whatever in 2021 made you proud and you're happy. And keep in mind, this is not a grading system. So there's no right or wrong answer. So whatever made you proud is what you want to focus on. And you want to list those there. And it suggests here to list 3, because those are 3 things that you either A, want to repeat, or B, you want to top what it was from 2021 and 2022. The second thing it's asking you is to list 3 things you learned about yourself in 2021. What did you learn? Did you learn that you hated setting up yard cards in the middle of a snowstorm? Did you hate not knowing how to best get the stakes into the ground so the yard cards stand up completely for 24 hours without bending or moving? Or if you're building one of the large, tall yard cards, do you know that? Are those the things that you either learned about yourself or your business in 2021, and have you noticed and tracked that? There are also things is, what did you celebrate in 2021? Did you have your biggest sale you've ever had? Did you get a whole new program that just skyrocketed and it sold like gangbusters? Whatever your celebration is, go ahead and write those down. And then the last one, this is always the one that sometimes we're really harsh on ourselves, but don't be. What can you improve about your business for 2022? Now, don't write down every little thing that went wrong that you think you can change. Write down some basics that we can focus on, that we can then set up goals that can be measurable, that they are sustainable, and that they will be able to come true in 2022. So that's what 17 hats has you working on. And it actually then also moves into another section where it's asking you about the marketing. It wants to know your numbers and different things that you had for your social marketing, for your social channels and different things. But I'm going to bring those up when I go through the Bright Balloon, because that one I filled out in there. If you're using the bright balloon, hers is just a little more playful than what 17 Hats is. She writes questions a little differently, but pretty much they're still the same. So in this one, it has, and as you'll be able to see, you can see I filled this one out and I've written down all of mine. And if you know, I think you have to write it down. I know some people just think about it and they're like, oh, okay. But in 2 weeks, when we go to formulate our goals for 2022, you need to know these answers, and you don't want to be spending your time, because we're going to be doing very short 40-minute sessions. So you don't want to be spending your time going back and trying to think, what was I successful on? What did I fail at? What do I need to improve? You want to go ahead and write them down. So in this one, if you want to write down these questions, if you didn't buy the book, you can definitely do this. But almost the same thing as 17 Hats. She just wrote it as, what were your big wins you had this year? And you can write it down. For me, I opened up a studio. I have a brick and mortar space that the public can come to, which for me is huge. Since September 2017, I have been working out of my home. And for 22 years before that, I managed a regional shopping mall in my community. So I know the power of people walking by and seeing your storefront and being able to walk in and ask questions. It is very strong, and it's not key. I've been successful without having one, but now I feel for me to grow more, I needed to do that. So I did open a studio last year, and it's had its ups and downs. COVID came back, got really lonely in here, but now we're moving forward. The next question she asked is, where did you struggle? Well, for me, I wrote down on this that I struggled reaching new customers. What happened to me is I had a lot of corporate accounts. And as I'm calling those corporate accounts that COVID has lightened up, none of the marketing people, or majority of the marketing people that I used to work with on multiple events all year long, are still in those positions. So I'm having to reintroduce myself, resell myself to people who I'm already had as clients, but they're not the same employee. So I am able to show pictures and different things, but it has been a struggle. I feel like every time I call someone, I'm getting, oh, XYZ doesn't work here anymore. It's now this person. And it was so much easier when you had the customer and you're just like, hey, we did this last year. I have some of these ideas. Let's move forward. The other thing I put is COVID. COVID still, we started picking up events and stuff again about in March of 2021. And then the variant came back and we lost all the events we had scheduled from April through July that were large events. And then it started picking up again. And then the new variant came out and we've had a lot of cancellations and downsizing in the last month or so. So I don't know when this curve of COVID is going to go away, but it's something that I've struggled with. The other thing I've struggled with is social media. Social media for me has been one of these ups and downs. I can get a large number of followers. I can come up with a cute thing and get a bunch of people to like me, but then I am finding that, especially on Facebook, when I get something very clever and I get a lot of new likes and new followers, when I post the next thing, unfortunately, I'll get only 27 views out of the 1,000 that I have. And so I've got to learn more about that Facebook, and without buying actual, spots on Facebook, how can I get more people to see my stuff? And I don't like doing all those silly, crazy things where it's like, hey, just say hello. So you get back in my cycle. That just I don't want to do that on my page. So I have to come up with things. So that is one I've been struggling on. And then on this one in the bright balloon, as I said, we have to scratch out the word balloon on some of the pages. Her next question is the things I love most about my balloon business. Well, I scratched that out. And the things I love most about my business is making people smile, whether I'm showing up with my photo booth or I surprise people with yard cards, or I do set up a large balloon display. Having them walk in and see the smiles on their faces and how I've wowed them, or they're just so happy or they're surprised that somebody remembered them. is great. It's a wonderful feeling. I just make people happy. And so what makes me really happy about my balloon business is just seeing the smiles. And the other thing that makes me really happy is when people post or they mark, look what Lights, Camera, and Selfies did for me, or I got this. Even if they don't mention us, I love seeing pictures of them standing next to the signs or holding up the balloons or taking our photo booth photos and just sharing them on social media. It's very cool. Then the next question she asked, and again, this is more playful, it's what do I hate about my stupid business? And that's what she wrote. So I'm just reading it off. And for me, I hate packing my car. I do these events and I fill up my car, whether it's the yard card, so I scratch like the side with the stakes, or my photo booth weighs 58 pounds. So lifting that up into my car, I can do it. It's not hard. But when you're tired at the end of an event, the last thing you want to do is pick up 50, 60 pounds just to put it in your car. So packing my car is just something I don't like. So one of my goals for 2022, which you'll learn, is I want to get a van. I want to move forward and get like a cargo van so I can start using it and leaving some things inside, tools and different things that I take out every time. And then the other thing I listed, which this is mostly for balloon people, I hate confetti balloons. You can see there's one in the background right over here, but people, I have been selling people confetti balloons and they can buy it with the high float and without the high float. The trick is the high float gets the confetti to stick to the sides. So if the balloon looks great all the time, the confetti balloons where you don't use the high float, the confetti falls to the bottom and it doesn't stick to anything. Well, if by chance you blow it up too big, it explodes and you have confetti all over. And I hate doing that because I did an event about 2 weeks ago. She would not buy the high float. I had to blow up 55 of these confetti balloons. 3 of them popped. I have been picking up confetti for weeks, so I hate confetti balloons. And in fact, one of the things I hate it so much, I am now no longer going to make that an option in my sales. You either buy the confetti balloons with the high float so I can make them properly and make them look great, or I'm not going to sell them. I'm just not going to do the easy way out, I guess, of just filling it up with air and using the static. The static only lasts about 20, 30 minutes anyways. So that is one change you'll see in all my goals, that I'm rechanging my pricing to where if you get a confetti balloon, it's X amount, and I'm no longer listing what's included. It's all in there, one price, one thing. And then she asked, when do you feel amazing? You can write that down. You know, as I mentioned, I love it when I see photos out there. I love it when I see people taking photos of different things. And then she also asked, when do you want to quit? Have you ever just been so fed up with your small business in this past year that you're like, forget it, I'm closing the doors? Write those down. Those might be key issues. Like, I hate the confetti balloons. That's a key issue that you're able to change. And maybe there's some other things when you write down what you hate, we can change them up and focus on that. Now, she's done her finances a little differently than what 17 Hats did. She just asked simple bulk questions. What were your 2021 sales? And you write down a grand total. As you can see, I've been filling out parts of mine, but I have not filled out that section yet because I really started closing my books today. So I'm officially closed for 2021. By the end of day today, I'll know what my sales are. I figured out January through November. I just have to figure out my December sales, and anything I get from today on will count towards 2022. This way, I know my books are closed. I have everything correct and right. And the next 3 days, I'm just going to be out setting up events and doing different things for New Year's Eve. So I really don't want to be, well, I'll be honest, I never want to work on my finances, but I'm not going to want to come back home and work on QuickBooks after that. So I'm finishing that up today. The next square she asked is, what did you pay yourself? Now, this we're not going to share with everyone, but you need to write this down, because I don't care if you made $1,000 a month all last year and you thought, oh, that was great, this is a side hustle. We need to focus on increasing that for 2022. And that is going to be a key focus. It doesn't matter what you made, you want to increase it. And then we just have to determine by what amount. And I started using the profit first method this past year. And I have been growing my profits and my take home pay through that. So we're going to briefly talk about that book. Again, it's not anything you're forced to buy or you have to buy or anything, but it is an interesting theory. And you can even go on YouTube and he gives presentations and you can learn about it without even buying the book. Obviously, the book has a lot of details, but it's a great way to increase your sales and focus on your expenses. The next question, of course, is what is your expenses? Again, I don't have the grand total written down yet because I have to figure out my December numbers. The next one, and this one, I'm not quite sure what all you're going to put in there, but what did you overspend on? And when I did this last year, last year was really 2020. I did a lot of yard carts. That was the main thing I focused on because that was something that I could do during COVID. It was fun and easy, but somehow I got on a steak purchasing rotation. And every 60 days, I was getting 150 steaks sent to me. That was just being charged automatically to my charge card. So I quickly changed that. But I have spent so much last year on steaks. I haven't spent a penny this year on steaks because I had so many from last year. So I knew from 2020, I way overspent. I tracked my inventory. I have them in storage. I have them in my garage. I have them everywhere, but I probably won't have to buy steaks till 2023. I'll be honest. I bought way too many last year. Then the next page she has here, and this we mentioned briefly, is the same thing. There's a marketing page and 17 hats is your ending stats. And I started filling, I don't know if you can see that. There we go. I started filling mine out over here. And it's different things. It's, again, you can repeat your annual sales from the other page. You can put in your annual leads. Now, I really didn't do a good job of tracking my leads in 17 hats. If you have 17 hats like I do, you then get online leads. I'm going to count those, but I don't know from people just calling in and different things. I didn't really keep track, but I'm going to do better for next year. The next question is, of those number of leads, how many converted to sales? I'll be able to track that for my 17 hats leads, but that's about it. So that should be a big one different for me. Then it's asking you for jobs completed. And this one you should be able to do from your invoices. You should be able to pull all your invoices for the year or, go through them and just count out how many jobs you did. And I would include in this, I'm going to break mine down for paid jobs, discounted jobs, and then complimentary jobs. Because with COVID, I did do some events, actually probably too many, of complimentary events, just because when September came around, I felt I had to go back out to the chamber meetings and different things and showcase my photo booths again and my balloon decor, because there, like I said, there were so many new people in marketing. So it was almost as if it was 2017 again when I first started, and I was just showcasing myself. Then it asked you your average transaction amount. And I remember this from last year when I did that, and I was like, who cares? I got the sale, who cares? Well, that really this year, I've learned how important that is. Do I want to do 10 jobs where I sell something for $30 each and make $300? Or do I want to do 10 jobs that I'm selling everything at $300 and make $3,000? So I really fine-tuned. I've eliminated some of my small dollar amounts, especially in my balloon bouquets and different things. Unless they come in and pick it up, I'm not making those deliveries or anything. It's just not worth my time or my effort for me to spend time doing little things for $20, $25. So I've changed that quite a bit this year, but that was something that I've learned this year. So I'm anxious to see, comparing my transaction amount, what that number is. I didn't write it down last year. I wish now I have, but I am going to write it down this year so I can keep track of it. The other thing is, if you've had a website the whole year, can you track the number of visitors? Does your website track that? Write that number down if you can. If you can, I didn't have that option on my website. I actually just turned it on in October, so I can do the fourth quarter, but for next year, I'll be able to do the whole year. Then it also asks you their number of Facebook followers. And this is something we have tracked since 2017. So I'm able to see each year how many more people I have on Facebook following us. And I have the entrepreneurial marketing page, I have my lights, camera, selfies page, and I have the yard cards grow your business page. And I do track all three of those, and they go up and down and they fluctuate. So I'm excited to see where we finally end up on December 31st. Same thing with Instagram. I have my personal page and I have my business page. I track both of those. And I also have a YouTube page, which I don't utilize that much. And I don't have a lot of followers, but now with this accountability, I'm going to be posting a lot of these videos on there. So I'm curious to see if that will go up or not. Also, if you have an email list, your number of subscribers, you should be able to write that number down. And then I did in my website add a blog to it last year. I didn't do so great. I only posted 6 blog posts the entire year. So that's something I need to work on. I would like to at least get it up to once a month. I do see my calls for information, they do go up when I put up, especially things related to certain events and holidays. I do see my number of calls go up when I have that in there. Plus I see that my ranking on, a Google search goes up too when I have that. So it's just a timing thing. I just was focusing on other things and sometimes scrambling to where I didn't do it. So I'm going to focus on that this year. Then the last thing we're going to talk about is your Google reviews and Google My Business. I had 3 reviews. Granted, they were all 5 stars, which is great on my Google My Business, but that's not good enough. What I learned, I actually took a course for Google My Business, and I'm going to share some things with you on that. But that is one thing that is probably for me now in the last 6 months has been a bigger sales tool than Instagram and Facebook combined. And so if you don't have a Google My Business page yet, go in there, fill it out. It's free. Don't buy any of the ads right now. Don't do any of that. I don't buy the ads, but I've learned different tricks and tricks that you can use to actually get your search higher by that. And one of them is reviews. And so I have since October been inviting everyone I do a job for to just put a review. And I've had way more than this. I would say about 1 out of 4 actually go in and write a review, but I'm now up to 18. And that also helps. I love to hit the sweet spot, which everybody says the sweet spot is 40. So don't panic. When I was in that class and they said 40 and I only had 3, I kind of hit under the table. So we're going to work on that. That will be one of our goals. The next thing that this book has that 17 Hats does not have is the calendar audit. And you can see this here. And this is a very cool thing. While you're going through your invoices and you're looking at the different things you've done and tracking your sales, write down the big events or the big functions that you've done and what month they're in. And if you're a yard card company and you mostly do birthdays and weddings and different things, write down those, especially if you have someone who bought multiple days, or maybe instead of buying one, they bought the whole kit and caboodle where they had the signs and the balloons and they had the names spelled out. You want to write those down because those potentially, whether it's a wedding, you could do their first anniversary. You can check with them to see if they're having a baby or anything like that. Birthdays, we know it happens every single year. You can reach out, you can show them what your new themes are, and maybe there's something you can do for that. So you want to reach that, you want to write those down. And what on this page, she asks you to write down the sale amount that you had in 2021. You don't do that, that's not a big deal. I actually put it in my to-do calendar. In my 17 hats, that's the last step I have for each job is I put it in my reminder calendar, and 60 days before that event, unless it's a really big event, I reach back out to them and it pops up in my calendar for next year. And I have a pre-written email that I just send out, and I just let it go with that. And most of the time they'll call back. It may not be as big as it was this year, or maybe bigger, especially if someone did a 20th birthday. You can bring out all the bells and whistles for their 21st birthday. So those are some fun things. So those are the big things that I'd like for you to be ready for when we have our next session. Look at those, reflect back. If you didn't pick up either one of these planners, whatever planner you're using, they should have something in there for that. If not, like I said, 17 Hats is free, but there's a bunch of different free ones out there. I've been getting different messages, for the last week. And even if you just go into Excel, if you're an Excel person, you could do reflections of last year's budget or annual budget review, and they're popping up. So think about those things. And again, our next session is going to be on Thursday, January 3rd at 9 p.m. I'm also going to put a survey up in the group to see, do you prefer daytime? Do you prefer nighttime? I'm available both. It just all depends on, when you can come. Is this something that would be better for me just to do live, which I don't want to do that because I really want to have interaction. I want to have people talking and different things. The other thing I want to bring up is if you're an expert in something, I'm not an expert in everything. So like I said, I struggled with social media. If you're an expert in social media and you're able to get these posts and get them out there and get sales from your posts, that's the big thing. I can get a lot of views. I can get a lot of likes, but I really want to hit my local market. And that's where I struggle. I want to hit the people in the 3 to 5 mile radius from me. I really don't care if Susie in Indiana loves my yard card. It's not a benefit for me because I'm not going to get a sale from her. The other thing is I have quit. This is something I learned probably in 2019. I'm no longer in any of those business, let's build up likes and followers, because unless you're my area, you're not a benefit to being someone who's following me. So I no longer go into those big group sessions where 50 people put in their Facebook page and you go in and you like them all and then they like yours. I'm not doing that anymore, unless I will say I do go in and I look at them. And if there's somebody local, I reach out to them directly through Messenger and, I see what they're doing or what their business is. And I like to see if I can set up like a one-on-one call. This has been very successful for me. I met a lady who did jewelry, and I made small little balloon bouquets that went with her jewelry in her bags, and she attached them to the bag. It was a very inexpensive thing, but now my name is going out to her customers, and then I promote her on different things at different times, and her message goes out. You'll also see I have another page, which is with another company called Cue the Confetti. And this is another company that was local that I reached out to. And now we're actually working together, doing certain parties, themed parties and different things, because I can come in and do all the decor. She can do all the food and catering and entertainment. So it's just things like that. You really want to focus on local. So some of these are the tips and different things we're going to be talking about. The next session, we're going to be talking about SMART goals and how you create your goals for 2022. And like I said, the next one's going to be January 3rd at 9 p.m. I may then turn around and do January 4th at 2 p.m. right after that. So if you prefer the daytime, we can work on that too. But I'm going to ask a question to find out what is the best time that everybody likes. I don't mind doing 2 sessions, but if everybody can attend one, that's great too. So if you have any questions, you can send them to me through the chat system here, or you can send them through, if you're in the entrepreneurial marketing group or the Grow Your Yard Cards, Grow Your Business, you can send them to me there. I'll definitely answer them in writing back to you. If not, I will also mention it on the next video, and we can talk about that. So I'm very excited. I hope you come back on January 3rd or now January 4th too. And look back, take the next couple of days to reflect on 2021. And so we can make 2022 bigger and better and grow your business. That's the main thing we want to do. No matter what you made this year, you can always grow. If you're $1 million company, which I doubt you're on here with me, if that's the case, you should be able to grow. If you're a small business like I am, you still should be able to grow. And that's what we're going to focus on. This accountability will get you to do things in a timely fashion, and that will also help you. So thank you for joining us. If you're watching this in a previous or on a video afterwards, make sure you come in and you like our pages and you join our group. Entrepreneurial marketing is where it's going to mostly be posted. And we're going to focus on, that's going to be like our main page that we focus on. And so please make sure you like that page on Facebook. And I look forward to seeing you in 2022. Have a happy new year, and I will see you soon. Thank you. And again, my name is Lenore, and I appreciate that you came today. Thank you.